I've been soaking some more peas because we're going to add them to the peas we've already planted outside so that we get staggered harvests. And I've soaked them just to rehydrate them a little bit before I pour them in ground. Problem is, this weather's changed once again now, so we're going to get quite a few days of rain. And since these peas aren't germinated yet, I don't really want to put them in ground outside to be wet for 4 to 5 days, because then there's more chance that these peas are going to rot before they actually sprout. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to pop them into a tray and I'll just grow them on in greenhouse. And then once they're just tiny little plants, then I'll take them out and I'll pop them in ground. I think it's the safer option. When I sow peas, I always put 2 or 3 peas in each cell, so I get a nice little bunch of plants growing together instead of one little single one. And peas, obviously, are quite big seeds, so we can make a deepish hole in each of these cells and then just drop us peas in. But apart from weather changing every other week, the longer it takes these to actually germinate and become a plant, the more chance there is of mice digging them up and eating them. So because these aren't huge cells, I'm just going to put 2 peas in each one. Then I'm just pressing them down into that compost. So, very small cells, but with 2 peas in each. And again, it's not taking up a lot of space, it's not using a lot of compost. But at least we can safely grow these now. So a quick cover over. And that's those set up. And I'll just make sure that the compost has got plenty of moisture in it as well. At least we know they're safe now. These are sugar snap peas, by the way. And it looks like I've hydrated enough peas to the 2 of those trays. So, that's all the better. That's even more plants for us. Another thing that I've decided I'm going to sow as well today is some more French beans. But these aren't the dwarf ones that we sowed already. These are full-size plants and they're called Cobra. And normally the seeds on these French beans are white and you can see that they're black, which makes it that much easier to see that on one side they've got that little white mark there. And that part of that bean is where the roots will come out. And then this top part will open up like a shell. That's where your plant comes out. And although it's not something you have to do, if you plant it with that white part down, then this seed's going to open up and the shoot can come straight out of the compost. If you can be bothered to plant every seed the right way around. But even if you don't do that, the seed will just turn itself in that compost until it is the right way. So I'm going to sow some of those as well today. And then what we'll do is we'll create a wigwam in the garden out of some canes for these plants to wind around and grow up. And I'm only doing a few because last year we did loads and loads of them, and then we harvested all these French beans and we blanched them and then froze them. So we've always got bags of French beans whenever we need them. But we've been eating quite a few of those since autumn. So I think it's a good idea to stock back up as we go through season on some of these. And of course, they're going to be fresher. So we'll get some of those done as well today. And quite similar to planting those peas, just not quite as deep because they're a smaller seed. All I do is make that indentation in each of these cells about the depth of my fingernail, and then it's a perfect depth to just drop these seeds in. But I've waited till now to do these because French beans are just not cold hard at all. So if you get a few plants on go and then it drops down to -1, -2, there's a very good chance it'll kill your plants off. But since it's getting a little bit warmer now, it's definitely time to get some of these done. Plus these aren't this year's seeds, they're last year's, so we want to get them out at way so next year we can buy fresh. So once again, that makes 24 individual plants in a very small space. And I'm just poking them down to make sure they get good contact with that compost. And then just lightly cover them over. There's loads and loads of different types of French beans that you can grow. But the reason I choose these Cobra is because first off, they're quite reliable plants. But secondly, they have actually won awards for being the highest yielding French bean plant. So any plant that's going to give you more produce than the next is definitely worth trying out. And I tried these about 4 years ago for the first time, and we got loads and loads of French beans off them. And I've always grown the same plants ever since. So as always, a good watering will get a label in, and that's just French beans, aren't we? So that's all those set up for today. And although we had to change his original plan from putting the peas straight outside in the ground to actually growing the plants in here, it's better to border on caution sometimes, because you have got a chance that mice will dig those peas up and eat them. But when the weather is threatening to be constantly raining, you've also got a bigger chance of those peas rotting before they even become plants. And you're going to be waiting and waiting for a long time before you realise they just didn't work. So that's why we're doing that. While at the same time, we've got ourselves 24 French bean plants, aren't we? And they're the full size ones, not the dwarf varieties. So from that very small area, we're going to get a lot of plants that's going to give us a lot of produce. But we've still got other things that we need to sow before end of month. And if you want to see what they are, please hit that subscribe button and press that notifications bell. And we'll see you then. Take care.